they're just completely inaudible.
So, through Sound Mixer, have you tried reducing the volume of the game with that?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, but even if it did that, yeah, you'd have to turn down your mic and the game a lot, and then jack up the entire stream in order for them to come through
that. I mean,
I can try tuning up the gain here on my microphone. Just dream. Hopefully, I remember where it is. Okay, here we go. Does this work, or am I just clipping now? Is this better? Is this good enough? I guess I should.
I mean, again, I can hear you fine. I can hear you guys fine. I can't hear. I play Bowie. Well,
Bro is louder.
I blame Never Hate.
But you are at least somewhat audible when you talk now, bro.
okay, everybody's saying better, good enough. I know. In other words, everybody's getting tired of waiting. So.
Okay, they say it's good enough. We'll just go with it.
All right.
Okay, I'll do my best to talk out loud. For the most part, I'll try to let you handle most of the talking then, Mr. P.R. Miller.
That's fine. I can handle it. Yeah, this game's probably the game I know the best because I mean it is my favorite. I think this was, from a design standpoint, probably the most polished. And you can't tell, I'm actually already starting with commentary on it. We've got a Paladin with max stats and almost everything except for climbing and acrobatics. And there's a reason we're not taking climbing is because we can get points for it. The Paladin is the only class in this game. Actually, all 4 classes can get over 500%, but the other 3 classes in the game are not really all that viable. You have 501 for the fighter and wizard, and then 502 for the thief. So you can skip one thing as a thief because we define 100% in our little community as 500 points. So there's some things that the Paladin can miss because it gets a whopping 525 points. So you'll be seeing that. And
we're not seeing it.
Yeah, we're not seeing it. All right, so as you can see, we are definitely not the thief from 2, and I'm ready to get going. You guys ready?
Ready.
I am ready.
I'm going to count down in 3, 2, 1, and go. Quest for Glory 4 has the benefit of like all the games before it. So all the hotkeys from every single session work, all the little extras work, and it's just overall the polished version. Now what I'm going to do here is grab a couple things that are going to help us get out of this cave. Most importantly, as we did our dark magic dance, we're now heading out into the world of Mordavia. We don't know where we're at yet. We're kind of lost and we don't know anybody. And the first thing we're going to do is run into bats that really tell us how much danger level is. And like a good hero, we're going to run away from them. I mean, what's good is all that power if you're going to use it, right? So we're going to cross hand over hand here to get some points. Anytime you hear that that's the game telling you that got points. Right there, I'm using a little tactic called the Shift W trick. I mean, I'm just kind of naming that on the fly, but it's a debug mode that's actually left into the code of the game. I can cast Fetch without actually using Fetch, and it interrupts that sequence. And like a good science fiction novel or H.P. Lovecraft thing, we have actually completely stopped time from moving. So time will not move until we hit certain triggers in the game. Usually these are linked to locations, and the first location that we're going to get to is the town, which we are heading up this way. And we're going to grab some extra coins here, some corn, as is all fitting, and we're going to float into town because we know the levitate spell. In fact, we know every spell in the game series so far because we imported with them all. Now, time is now moving again because we've hit Arana's staff, and we are going to run into Dimitri's house, which prevents a glitch later on in the game. That's the only reason we head in there. And we actually have all the money that we need in order to buy everything for the entire rest of the game, which is kind of nice. I mean, you like to be rewarded for buying things, but the fact is that you can't always... I mean, you don't... Once you metagame this, you know exactly what you need. So I need 10 abrasions here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to head out and immediately head over to talk to a old man who's really down on his luck. We're going to be skipping some puzzles and then coming back to them later because that's a little bit faster. And the first thing I'm going to do is open up this door, which allows an attack by Antwerps from the first game, which is probably one of the few things that we actually recognize here. So you have to answer these questions correctly. Does it bounce? Yes, we are looking to catch an Antwerp, which is exciting. And we have to do this one more time.
Yeah, hexapod.
In order to get the hexapod, which we've caught in Antwerp. And this is one of the puzzles that we'll be skipping because while you get 6 points for it, it takes a while to do, and there's a lot of room for error in that puzzle.
Most of the puzzles in this game have the option to, rather than completing them, you can forego their point by just smashing the help button. And then eventually the help that the help button gives you is just solving the puzzle for you.
Whoops. Gentlemen, I think the one thing I forgot to grab was the Dr. Cranium potions, or formulas. Do you think one of you could pull those up for me?
I actually have it up.
Perfect. There's a copyright system in this, like there are in most of the Quest for Glory games. I need to get some flowers. Forgot those. And that'll be useful one time later on in the game.
There's someone we want to give flowers to.
Yes. Which we might want to censor in Twitch. I don't know. I think that goes either way.
The game censored it.
Oh, yes, that's fair. That's fair.
The game is also clearly rated kids, so it is wholesome, good family fun for everyone.
I mean, this was the era of the ESRB and Mortal Kombat all coming out at the same time, so it makes sense that they would have taken these sensibilities and really liberally interpreted them. There we go. This one we can skip past, but yet for some reason we still get the points for, so we don't worry about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Unlike previous games in the series, this game does not impede your ability to rest based on like your current stamina state or anything like that. If you say you want to sleep 60 minutes, you're sleeping 60 minutes right there.
If you want to sleep all day, you can do it.
Which we will be.
Not a great idea all the time, though.
That's true. There's a lot in this game, and even though we're doing 100%, we're actually going to be missing a lot of the features of this game.
Seeing some confusion in chat regarding whether getting all the points or not. The Paladin is assigned 525 points total, but the points that are actually shown is capped at 500. So we have 25 points worth of leeway in terms of getting the maximum possible score. We define 100% in terms of that score because that's the only in-game measure that we actually have for how much we did.
So unless we were willing to go through and verify every single thing with every single points, and by the way, pretty much every single point list on the internet is actually incorrect with the number of points that are available. It would just take a monumentalist task for a game that only a small fraction of us actually run. What we need to do is levitate. We are done day one. We've done everything that we need to do here. And now we are going to sleep until morning.
And get bad dreams.
Yep. Of bubbles and all sorts of things.
Bubbles!
Bubbles terrify me personally. I can definitely say that. Now what we have here, we're going to tell this man about the fact that we saw a ghost out in the forest, and he is certainly excited to go out and see it. Now this is actually Nikolai. The ghost that we were talking to and trying to convince that she was a ghost is the deceased wife of said Nikolai. So we are going to come in here now and do this puzzle as was intended before. We'll get the points for that. we're going to go and see Dr. Cranium again because we need to visit Dr. Cranium 3 different times on 3 different days. When on the 3rd day is whenever he realizes and has this Doc Brown-esque flux capacitor understanding of rehydration. So we got 2, and I'll be resting here until the 3rd day so we can go right in and talk to him. And this is part of the great reroutes that have been done in this game. I'm counting.
Got that formula ready.
Got it? All right.
Yeah.
The game has 26 formulas based on the letters of the alphabet. So you don't have to actually do anything with Dr. Cranium except for this formula. Rehydration solution, and it's Tamlin.
Pizza, water, wind, earth, water.
Oh, he says that sounds just about right, so I'm going to guess you got it. And we give him some Grugu, which he needs, which will allow us to get the rehydration solution. But before I go in here, I'm going to visit the good old tried and true Adventurers Guild, which is as run down as any place we've ever been to in the entire series. We're going to learn climbing skills. We're going to sign our name to the logbook. We're going to grab a grapnel, which we'll never use. And then we're going to run out the door after training just for a second, because that's maximum points right there. And we are done in the Adventurers Guild. We will never go back. Now this is the monastery. This is where a dark cult met in order to worship a Vuzul and to bring about his kind of reign of terror. But there are some things we need in here. Like, for example, we're searching for 5 rituals that will allow us to later enter and reactivate this dark god. And we've got a nice little cutscene here that shows what happens if we are to fail. It's so pretty. Night on Bald Mountain style, too.
The cask that we just tapped right there, by the way, the cask owned by the head of this monastery who was named Amontillado. So this is technically the cask of Amontillado for any of you Poe fans out there.
Now we're heading out. We've gotten everything that we need, and we are going to continue. But I need to talk to Dimitri one more time here. And he's going to tell us about the Rusalka, who we will see not too far from now. But we're going to levitate up to our room, which, by the way, we haven't paid for yet. And we're just going to exit the room right here. And, well, you know, they might be surprised, or they might not be. But either way, they let us pay for the room in their trustingness of strangers. Everybody in this town trust strangers, apparently. At least that's the way I remember it from speedrunning it. So this is the Domovoy. He stays up here in the corner and only comes out after midnight, and he will tell you about the doll that the little girl who was the daughter of the innkeeper and his wife had, and she received it from a friend, and they did not trust anything about it, so they took it away. And then this friend came and took the little daughter away, which is a major subplot and kind of barrier to the run. Now, this is the most exciting day of the run right here, at least compared to day 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We are waiting until eventually Igor will get himself in some trouble, and some portions of the game just won't progress until we have cleared the name of the gypsy that the townspeople claim was a werewolf who ate Igor, who, by the way, isn't even dead.
And we will be saving him in this run compared to some runs that I've done. This is just as exciting as day 3, by the way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I counted that right. Commentary and counting, I found, are actually quite difficult to do, even compared to other things. All right, yep, we're at day 5 now. When you hear voices, you know that things are about to get started. So now we're heading out and seeing the 3 Stooges right here ready to go, talking about what they're going to do to the gypsy in a couple days. And what we're going to do is immediately come over here, promptly look at this grave inconspicuously to find out some information that we'll need from later. And you know what, Igor, I think you're good staying there for a minute. Because I do this a little out of order. I'm going to finish this puzzle and another puzzle a little out of order from some of the times we do it, because I need to shake Death's hand for 6 points in order to exit the crypt. There's that. And now, Igor, I guess you can come out. Poor little feller. Here he comes. Ah, just such a nice guy. Alright, Igor's saved. This is now going to free the gypsy as long as we see Igor talk, or as long as we see Dimitri at the front window, which is definitely going to happen now. There are some glitches that prevent it, but by running into Dimitri's house on the first day, it seems to prevent that glitch. Ask me why? I can't tell you. Here we go. We're going to run past these bushes that are perfectly normal here and head all the way up to the gypsy camp, which is in the far top right corner of the screen, and hit no encounters on the way, which is quite amazing. And now the gypsies come out and welcome us with open arms into their camp, which is also about to happen with our favorite thing to do in Quest for Glory, our dancing scene. And here it comes. Just absolutely amazing dancing. He's doing so good just standing there and turning. And there's the finale of the dancing scene. Perfectly fine. Yes, as chat says, Davy, the gypsy, has a mighty chin. Definitely strong. Now, we need to visit her 3 times. And this is the 3rd time. This is where we're going to find out about helping the Rusalka. We're going to talk about Arana, the staff, and the destiny spell. Now we can actually save the little girl. And from here to the end of the game, things actually progress fairly quickly. But the first thing I'm going to do is introduce us to the Rusalka, who we have never met, but she will act as if we have met her because we now know how to cure her. And I usually get into a battle here, but luckily it's out of the way. And I'll escape quickly from that conversation. I do need to ask her for some hair, though. And I will put this in here, give her some flowers now, and get those points for that, and now we're going to rest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now it's nighttime. Now there's going to be a bunch of things that we're going to clean up here this evening. The first thing we're going to do is go see those ghosts, because if you remember, we in our heroics allowed an old man to run out into the woods unprotected, and look what happened.
He got back together with his wife, that's what. Sounds like a win to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, we measure win by love, not by breathing.
By getting his hat.
And we're going to take his hat, because, you know, ghost thieving, I don't know. But there's this strange bush over here that we need something from, so we're going to whack it in our heroics. And then take this. I'm going to cast the aura spell because we're going to do a little bit of combat coming up here, which you've seen we avoid from up until this point.
Yeah, so that race drains your health normally otherwise. It's usually a very difficult combat, although our imported Paladin is more than tough enough to take it on without this spell, but just use the spell for safety.
Yeah, because we do have to fight 2 this evening. That won't be the only one that we have to deal with. Now this is the Garden of Arana. Now you saw the Pool of Peace in 3, and you saw the garden in the first game. Arana's been kind of this shadowy figure that's been all over the world, but has not been seen in a long time. And this is the game that kind of gives you the idea, or gives you the information that you've been looking for, just kind of throughout the series, where Arana has gone. But now we're going to go see another old friend that David took care of earlier.
I did, didn't I? I'm actually a hero. Don't forget the corn.
Good answer. Now, what we have learned, however, is that from the third game, that David is cool. That's the important thing that we learned from the third game. But now that we are a paladin, we need to feed the world on top of things. So we're going to, rather than using the puzzle from the first game to solve it, which Bonehead, who was in the first game also, conveniently... Ooh,
Reversal spell?
there it goes. Yeah. I'm actually casting the reversal spell there because it skips a slight cutscene. I mean, it probably takes a second or two off the time to do it that way. Notice she casts a spell and it doesn't do anything, so she would have transformed us into something and it doesn't work now. But we're going to give her a pie that we didn't know that she needed, that we conveniently have. Skip an entire cutscene dialogue with her, and then ask about a gnome's humor, a gnome that we haven't met yet. And we're going to run back in because we need one more thing from her. She has another one of these Dark One rituals that we need.
So to be clear, we just gave Baba Yaga an item that we had no reason to believe she needed in order to acquire the gnome's humor, and we haven't even met the gnome yet to know that he'd possibly acquire it.
That's about as clear as you can get with it, yes. That is, yeah, this game, there's so much freedom in this game compared to some of the others in the series. And, like, for example, I didn't cast, but it shouldn't be a big deal.
Oh, fighting Janos without the art.
Yeah, the Master Wraith is really the only Wraith that actually causes you any sort of stress in this game. But even still, as a Paladin with max stats, you can kill them even on night one if you're running through. But that's kind of unintended. The game kind of expects you to have the Aura spell, but because your stats are so boosted up, and you can have 400 strength, which was an importing glitch from the in the fourth game, you can actually kill the Master Wraith, which is that first one that we fought, even before you have the things to protect you from it. You see these batters are floating around here. We're just going to calm them down, and unlike every other enemy, they won't kill us when they won't calmly kill us. This is the optimal way through the castle. Also, we took a shortcut from the crypt into the castle in order to find a little girl that we kind of know about. I mean, at least we know that we knew enough to take a doll.
The Domo boy told us.
Yeah, but have we listened? Have we listened to anyone here at this point? Actually, I don't think the Domovoy did. All I did was initiate conversation with him twice.
True.
But the nice thing is that, well, like all creepers know, little girls like dolls. So we're just going to give her one. And then we'll also just tell her that she should probably come with us to a staff in the middle of the night and leave the safety of the castle, which she will do. But with her bodyguard, which makes sense.
No, Toby, no.
And unfortunately for her, she might not have realized it, but Toby seemed to. Toby is that monster. Well, now her guardian's dead too. Man, we are just wreaking havoc all over this great nation. Like leading old men into the woods, little girls out in the night, but at least she's alive. So we've killed one person and brought back to life another one. So I guess it's a wash. But now they're happy. And we've got to talk to a gnome about humor. And while we're at it, we got to grab a rubber chicken. Because this is another 2 points that we need. And also one that is kind of fun to miss. Am I right, Crow?
I have lost some 100% runs of that before.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there we go. Now we're going to go back in because you need to greet him a second time before you give him the humor. It's an automatic, the good humor bar that we received from Baba Yaga to restore his humor. And in return for restoring his humor, he teaches us what's called the ultimate joke, which is the last thing that we need in order to trigger the events of the end game. So we're going to sleep till morning, and if all goes well, there's a note here.
Sword.
Good answer. I was already forgetting.
Yeah, remember the sword.
Yeah, David's reference here is the fact that you get like 15 points for showing Dimitri his sword, his grandfather's sword, which we did receive from the Master Wraith. So And there we go. Now I need to get down to go see Miss Rusalka. For those of you that are Rusalka lovers, I might not be as keen to get her off the screen this time.
But this time we give her a kiss. So
Yeah.
it's hotter.
Yep, I did it. There we go. Let's climb in. And we have now saved her. And all that's left is to go and take out the rest of Mordavia. Well, you gotta wait till night here.
Yeah, so the note is supposedly from Katrina saying, meet me at the castle gates. It's really from Adabis, and stupidity is the best option.
Wait a second, I thought I killed that guy in Quest for Glory 2 with my thief.
You did.
Oh, no. So what we have here is a return of a big bad. It was alluded to in Quest for Glory 3, but now, well, he's just prettier now, and we're just really happy that he's back to life. So much so that he takes us back to his place and puts us to sleep. You know, gives us some nice, milk and cookies kind of thing. And
is this safe for Twitch?
well, don't worry. I mean, we won't be here for too long. We're gonna get out of here through the Iron Maiden, and we're going to open up this casket because all of this has been a way to get us into Katrina's bed chambers because he expected us to kill her. And now, well, now I don't have an explanation for what's going on here.
Is this safe for Twitch?
Well, I'm agreeing to help her. It's got to be safe. I'm a hero after all. I'll show off this little glitch here also. This gate is entirely optional, but we're going to leave, come back, and we'll notice that the gate is open. And we are now heading directly to the end game. And we're back at the beginning. See, we actually started the game at the last place in the entire game, which is kind of a neat little feature here, is that this game has been surprisingly resilient. Even though we are 2 doors away from the finale. Oh, don't think that worked. There we go. Even though we are 2 rooms away from the final room in the game, we can't find a way to glitch ourselves in. So, despite being a buggy mess at its release, this game is particularly robust in defending itself against speedrunners. And here we go. We're going to run through this room, put the torch up here, give the Dark One's ritual. Oops, break the cage, get the torch, and out of the room. We are now doing the rituals that are going to awaken the Dark One, because we kind of need to wake him in order to seal him. It's one of those deals. Here we go.
No, don't wake the Dark One.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't been particularly heroic. I mean, I guess we've been batting about 50-50 throughout the entire game so far, so we're going to get his blood flowing here. And rather than solve this puzzle in its intended way, we're just going to leave the room. So we're going to come down these stairs, come down, and we're out.
The acid is no match for game scripts.
Yep. Normally, if you don't click the right way through that acid, you die. But if you click your hand in just the right way, use the hand icon in just the right way, you don't die. And you just leave. There's a couple ways that you can get out of that room using acrobatics and pushing a rock and freezing the water. We just say freezing the acid. We don't deal with any of that. Here we go. This one we have to blow into each of the tentacles after giving the
Is this safe for Twitch?
Yes, it is, because we've breathed new life back into a being that hasn't had it in so long. It's very, very appropriate. This is the sense room. You'll see all the sensory things. Yep, that's the sense room.
It makes
And
no sense.
that was the sense room. Altars all the way around the room, but the game scripts don't just allow us to pretty much just skip where we're at. And this is the final room of the game, with magnificent 90s hair and battles going on, wizard battle. So he can't hit. Adaviz is geese to the Dark Master, which is Katrina. And he can't damage her, but he can damage us. So he angers her to hurt him, and now he's able to. He's broken free of her bonds through that way. And she is going to save us, even though we pretty much just wrecked her entire life. She loves us. And here we go. We're going to do the most heroic thing. We're going to tell jokes. And then, while this poor old man is speaking, we're actually just going to spear him. By the way, time is in the next move whenever I click the staff against the crystal. I've got something fun to announce on this one. And time. And if time is right on that, and it started at the right time, that would be a world record. A PB plus, that would be at the 25-second mark. Oh, it's going to be so close. Oh. I think I may have done it by 1. I don't know. 3, something like that.
That would mean world record.
Yeah, that's right there. It's by a couple seconds, but we've been doing it. Assuming that we got the right number of points, so let's see whether or not that actually happened. 500.
Boom, we got it.
We did it. By God, it happened. And now we're even more powerful. The not thief from 2 has managed what no other paladin has had. He has gone 50-50 and maintained 310 honor. We're just proud as heck of this guy. And actually, I'm kind of surprised that we have honor, because we allowed the Will-O-Wisps to die, and that should be an instant honor kill, as I understand it. But that is the end of Quest for Glory 4, and again, I encourage anybody. These games are cheap on GOG. Even the 5th one that Crow is going into now, they all come in a bundle. They're like $10 normally. Absolutely worth every penny if you want to go through a game that has great, just fantastic stories.